My mom played audio of me crying at church and called it spiritual cleansing. When I finally asked her why she needed to record every moment of my life, she smiled and said, "Because secrets are how monsters are made." I stayed silent. That was 9 months ago. This morning, she was standing outside the courthouse, clutching a USB and shaking. "When did your parents treat you like a science experiment?" My parents eliminated all physical contact from my life when I was 8 because they said human touch was making children weak and dependent, and they wanted to create the world's first truly self-sufficient child. My parents were behavioral psychologists who blamed society's problems on excessive physical affection. Dad had published papers about how hugging created emotional weakness. Mom studied isolated children in Romanian orphanages and decided they were more resilient than touched children. They'd make me watch documentaries about feral children while explaining how strong these kids were without human contact. I once reached for my mom's hand during a scary movie, and she jerked away like I'd burned her. "Touch is a crutch," she said. "You're already too dependent." When I was 8, my parents announced their revolutionary child-rearing experiment. No more hugs, hand-holding, hair ruffling, or physical contact of any kind. They wore gloves around me to avoid accidental touches. "We're giving you the gift of complete self-reliance," Mom explained from across the room. "You'll thank us when you're the strongest person alive." They installed cameras to ensure no one was weakening me with affection. If a teacher patted my shoulder or a relative tried to hug me, they'd file complaints. The isolation was immediate agony. Humans need touch like they need food, but my parents treated it like poison. They'd stand 3 feet away during conversations. They modified our house so they could care for me without contact, using tongs to hand me things, and automated systems for everything possible. When I cried, they'd observe from the doorway, taking notes about my withdrawal symptoms. At first, I used school as an escape, high-fiving and hugging my friends whenever I could, but my parents put a stop to that quickly and pulled me out for homeschooling. I started deliberately falling just to feel the ground hit my body, craving any physical sensation. My parents were delighted by my self-soothing behaviors. I tried different ways to get touch. If my parents let me go to the store, I would bump into people accidentally, stand too close in lines, anything for brief contact. But my parents always found out. They started dressing me in clothes with "no touching contagious condition" written on them. They told everyone I had a skin condition that made touch painful for me and hazardous for them. People would jump back if they accidentally brushed against me, apologizing while I wanted to scream. By age 10, I developed visible problems. I rocked constantly, hit myself for stimulation, and pulled out hair just to feel something. The breaking point came when I got seriously sick with food poisoning. I was hospitalized, delirious with fever, and the nurses needed to physically examine me. My parents tried to stop them, but I was too sick for their insanity. When the nurse checked my lymph nodes, the gentle pressure of her fingers on my neck made me sob so hard they had to sedate me. I hadn't felt human touch in 5 years. The nurses reported my extreme touch starvation to social services, but my parents had anticipated this. They'd been building a legal case about their right to raise a contact-free child, complete with forged research and hired experts. They convinced the judge this was legitimate science, not abuse. With their credentials, it was actually believable, and the case was dismissed. After that, they escalated. They built a completely touch-proof environment with padded walls I couldn't feel through thick clothing and floors that were always either too hot or too cold to touch comfortably. They were erasing every possible source of physical sensation. "You're so close to breakthrough," Dad observed from behind glass. "Soon you won't even remember wanting touch." He was right. By 13, I was forgetting what hugs felt like. The memory of my mother's hand in mine was so distant it felt like a dream. I'd watch videos of people embracing and feel nothing but confusion. My parents celebrated this as success, documenting my evolution beyond physical needs. But then one of their colleagues visited to observe me. Dr. Mills was supposed to validate their experiment, but when she saw me, her face changed. She insisted on conducting a private interview. My parents reluctantly agreed, watching through cameras, but Dr. Mills did something unexpected. She turned off her microphone, pulled out a pen, and wrote on her notepad, "I'm going to help you." She conducted a normal interview out loud while writing her real observations. "This is severe abuse. I'm reporting them. Be ready." My heart pounded. After 5 years, someone finally saw what they were doing to me. But my parents must have sensed something, because the moment Dr. Mills left, Dad locked me in my touch-proof room. "We're moving the experiment to the next phase," he said through the intercom. "Complete sensory elimination." I watched through my window as trucks arrived with medical equipment. Mom explained cheerfully that they'd developed a gel that would numb all nerve endings. "Like a full-body anesthetic you can live in," she said. "You'll finally be free from all physical sensation, not just touch." They'd already tested it on animals. The rats floated peacefully in vats, unable to feel anything. "We'll start with your hands tomorrow," Dad announced. By